Hey guys, this is Daniel with PwnCNC. I wanted to pause my Millwright Mega V assembly so that I can address something real quick. So I'm a very small shop and don't really have a lot of resources, or literally it's just me putting all this stuff together. So in order for me to support a lot more projects and that sort of thing, some assembly is required on many of my products. So I've just recently came out with a 90-degree elbow, which basically is either a 2-inch or it's a 3-inch, and the difference basically is a collar that runs in the middle. For this product, it will have a minor bit of assembly. All you really need is just some super glue and maybe a clamp, just to kind of pinch it together for about a minute. So the way you do this, we're going to go ahead and get started on assembling this. And hopefully I can zoom in here. Let me jump over. Okay, now what we're going to do is basically take our super glue. I'm going to set both of these aside. We're going to take one of our little tongue pieces here, take our super glue, and we're going to add some super glue. So there's a big area and a small area. We're going to put some super glue right there on the small area. And we're just going to spread it around there. This is just a Gorilla Glue. I believe it's the gel kind. Doesn't really matter what kind it is. Just put some super glue on there, kind of spread it around, and then what you're going to do is on the collar, there's 2 indentations right here, and this slips right onto one of them. Then you can take your clamp and pinch it. Now what this does is this assembles the collar piece so that it has a couple of lips, and what those lips or those tongues will do, they slide right into the main collar piece. This goes into the side of the boot, and there's some indentations here which perfectly match up with these tongues. And whenever this gets glued together, the back side, the 90-degree part, will come in and attach right onto that collar, and then of course whatever hose adapter you happen to have, it just slides right into the top, attaching right into the rest of your adapter system there. Now this stuff looks like it has a 10-second solidification or whatnot, so not too much stress on it, but 10 seconds, that's plenty of time. What we're going to do is go ahead and get our next piece all started up. The second tongue, there's 2 of them. There's going to be one on the top and one on the bottom. Get that glue. Go ahead and be generous with it. And again, slide it in there and then slide it down. And then once you got it in place, throw a clamp on it just to pinch it there, hold it in place. You'll notice that the other one is already ready to go. Now there'll be a lot more glue on this in a minute. Once we're ready for that to finish, or once that finally sets. What we're going to do is we're going to take our straight adapter piece next. Okay, so apparently I ran out of battery power, and yeah, had to go get another set of adapters. So I guess another person's going to get a fully assembled boot, or I'm sorry, fully assembled elbow instead of just the kit. But basically redid the whole thing. So I've got my tongues on there. I've got the collar in place. I'm ready to glue it right into the straight portion of the adapter. So let me zoom in a little bit closer, just a little further away. There we go. There. Now, I've got my super glue. I'm just going to spread it right across the tongue here. There it goes. You could be generous with this. It's totally okay. Might grab the bottom there. There we go. We want a good solid connection with this, so feel free to go crazy. Okay, so I've got that in place. I've got my piece. You can see the squared off part of the edge of the circle here. And of course that lines up with the tongues. So we just slide that right into place. The glue will probably goo up right there on the edge. You just take a paper towel or something. There we go. And you can clean a little bit of it. You don't need to clean all of it because we're going to do the entire thing here. So inside, you'll see that the tongues line up with the edge or the flat edge of the inner circle. So just make sure that that lines up correctly. And then you can set that down for a second while that's gluing. Just make sure that's nice and in place. We're going to take the circular side of our L piece and we're going to put some generous glue on there. So that collar slides on the inside of this 90 degrees portion. So if there's any glue that gums up, it's going to gum up right there on the inside. Totally fine. So we're going to take it, the square piece, lines up with the square piece, and we're just going to slide it right into place here. Here. Now what I like to do is set this out of the way. Set the elbow down like this in order to make that last final rotation adjustment to make sure that it is the square part of the adapter going into the boot is just as you know, is in line with the square portion that's vertical. Having some naming problems right now. So now that I got it in place, you do want to let that sit for maybe 20 minutes or 10 minutes or something, just to make sure it's nice and solid. But once you do that, you should have a really good boot. I'm being very careful with this. I don't want to mess up any of that rotation or whatnot. So once you have it and it's all glued up, then you can just slide it right into the back of the boot. Now once it's in the boot, it should give you about 2 inches from the back edge of the colored part of the boot to the back edge of this. So it's roughly a 2-inch distance, and then of course a 90-degree turn. The extra large version of this adapter will give you a 3-inch. And if necessary, I can obviously come back with larger collars and make them even more. But you know, we'll start from here and see what becomes popular and see what people are actually measuring and wanting. So I guess the next question would be, well, I print huge boot parts. Why would I print this in pieces like this? So it's a couple reasons. One, we've got all of these pieces. They're in tons of different angles. They're two vital portions of parts of this adapter. One is the male portion of this adapter, and we want that perfectly lined up and to slide perfectly right into the boot. So having that printed in a certain orientation, in this case vertically, gives it the perfect dimensions as far as my FDM printers go. Now the same exact reasoning is what's happening right here with the female portion. Now I print the female portion of the boot sideways, but it does give some pretty rough edges right up here at the top. I've created some supports that try to compensate for that, and it does for the most part. But having that receiver portion printed, vertically, it's basically printed like this, so that it comes up and then L. Now, that does make for a little rough edges right up here at the top and right here at the bottom on the inside of the circular portion. But since that is easily sandable and it doesn't really bother much. It doesn't take away from anything, I don't think. But the receiver portion is really nice. Prints nice whenever it sits and prints that way. And then of course the other parts just kind of give a nice clear the squared off circle all the way till it hits that bend, and then it bends up a little, and then comes right out the top. So, yeah. So hopefully that made sense to you. Super easy build. I'll try to get some written instructions put together and link to them on the website. Either way, let me know what you think. Took months in the making, so I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Yeah, back to building my Mega V and happy making.